voluntary racial equity training that's being offered to staff. Hamilton Southeastern School District is implementing a 2-day training program called Interrupting Racism for Children. And according to the website, some key teachings include the relationship between poverty and racism, understanding the lasting impact of historical policies and laws, awareness of how racism adversely affects everyone, et cetera, et cetera.
An executive director of the Center for Urban Renewal and Education, lawyer and political consultant, Marc Little, joins us now. Marc, good to see you this morning. So this is reportedly a voluntary program. It's for teachers, but here's what's fascinating to me. It's called Interrupting Racism for Children. So we're going to teach teachers how to teach children. And that title, Interrupting Racism, to me, as I read it, presumes, Marc, the children are already racist or have learned racist habits. So interrupt them.
You hit the nail right on the head. That's the thing that stood out for me. Children don't have the same problem that we adults have. They don't have racism. Racism is a matter of the heart, and it is taught. This program is a disguise, just like critical race theory. It's a disguise to create retribution in the hearts of those staff members and ultimately in the hearts of those children. And those parents have it just right. They've got to root it out. And I know it's happening this week, and hopefully it won't happen next year because they're onto something. And I encourage them to keep fighting to make sure their students are not taught critical race theory and hatred, not only for white, heterosexual, cisgendered men, but for America.
Yeah, you're right, because the school district will deny its critical race theory, just calling it something else. But here's what the Hamilton Southeastern School District statement, what they said in a statement. They said, as a district, we believe that professional development trainings can help our teachers and staff prepare all of our students for a life of academic success. We also believe that each student deserves a school where educators teach inclusivity and dismantle barriers that keep students from being their authentic selves. We look forward to continuing to offer this training for the benefit of all HSE schools students. Does that statement surprise you at all, Marc? A lot of code in there, and they seem to not be backing down, even if parents are standing up.
It doesn't surprise me, and it's the same wrapping that ethnic studies has. We're dealing with this now all across the country, and thankfully, parents are standing up in school districts all across the country. You know, these consultants are on a racket, and they're on a racket because there's been funding for it, and they've learned how to wrap it in a nice paper wrapping, and not so opaque. It's pretty transparent, actually. That goes through these schools and makes it sound like we're going to teach about fairness. Well, it's anything but fair. It's anything but inclusive.
Right.
In fact, we know exactly what it is because just like this parent did, she pulled back the covers and she saw exactly what it was. It is hatred. It's reverse racism, in fact, and it's against white men. This is just unacceptable in our school systems around America. And by the way, it's not limited to public schools. It's actually crept itself into private schools as well. And as a country, we have to stand against it and say that we want to teach American history. We want to teach how to love one another, the golden rule, but we're not going to allow hatred and racism to be taught in our schools.
Well, Marc, the school district says that, they said in the statement, academic success. You know, these kinds of programs are taking the place of other things that could be taught. And I think if you really want to help minorities, you might want to teach them math and reading and all the skill sets they need to succeed in life rather than these kinds of silly, as you said, racket programs.
Well, I tell you, they use the term equity all the time, and that suggests that there is an achievement gap.
That's
and
right.
Like you said, science, technology, English, and math, that's the way to bridge the achievement gap in our school system.
Thank you, Marc. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Marc, this morning.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.